To vote on a proposal to change the Constitution of Ireland, which concerns the rights of children. Over today and tomorrow, we'll be giving both sides time to air their views. So if you're still undecided, now's the time perhaps to listen up. Tanya Ward from Children's Rights Alliance says a yes vote would mean Ireland's most vulnerable children will be protected and indeed cherished. And you're very welcome, Tanya. Thanks for joining us this morning. Just Children's Rights Alliance, who are you? Who's behind the Alliance?
Well, the Alliance is a membership organisation. We have over 100 organisations. We were founded nearly 20 years ago, and actually one of the key founding principles of the organisation is constitutional change to make sure that children's rights are recognised in the Constitution, and we're part of the Yes for Children campaign.
OK, and you're on the cusp of that now, because there will or there may not be constitutional change after this vote on Saturday week. So tell me a bit about why people at home who are maybe undecided or who are unsure what it's all about should vote yes. What is the difference now and the difference afterwards if this is carried?
Well, the reason for the referendum in the first place is that our constitution dates from 1937, and really that was a time when children were seen and not heard. So there's scant reference to children in the constitution, and over time that's meant that children have been almost invisible in relation to our legal and political structures. We've got 17 reports now documenting how we failed to protect some of our most vulnerable children, and there's also been a number of court cases about the welfare and protection of children which haven't been child-centred. So this referendum is a long time coming and absolutely essential. And what it'll mean if it's passed is a range of different things. I think the first thing is that our child protection system will be reformed, in that at the moment the Constitution talks about how the state can intervene in exceptional circumstances when the parents fail for physical and moral reasons. So that's going to change in the new wording. It still retains exceptional circumstances,
yes.
So we're not talking about...
Who will administer this? Who gets to be the power? Who will decide what these exceptional circumstances are?
Well, that's a judge, and that's always been a judge. And when it comes to something as serious as intervening in family life, a judge has to provide oversight to make sure the decision is sound and just. But we're not talking about here more children going into care. Instead, what this referendum is about, it's about looking at the safety and welfare of children. But we lobbied for the inclusion of the word proportionate, which is a legal term. And what that's going to mean is they'll have to explore other alternatives before they take a child into care.
And where will the money come from then to provide this, given that at the moment the HSE is strapped? There's talk of they're expected to create a new agency and fund it. So where is that revenue going to come from, and how will we be sure that the constitutional rights and the basic rights of our children are looked after? Because it could be argued the HSE hasn't done a great job to date.
And that's absolutely the case. And if you read the Child Deaths Report, which documents the deaths of children who were in contact with the HSE, you can see lots of different scenarios where the HSE failed lots of different children. But I think we're at a tipping point at the moment, and there's clear acceptance that things need to change. As you mentioned, there is a new Child and Family Support Agency. That's going to be operational at the beginning of next year. And one of the problems we had in the past was that children and child protection was effectively marginalised in the HSE.
Okay.
So this is an important development, and it will mean, together with putting children first on a statutory footing, meaning if you're going to report child abuse, that's all going to make Ireland a safer place.
Just for argument's sake, though, if a family runs into marital problems and there's a negative impact on the children, and then the HSE or the new agency comes out, a judge is called in, a decision is made, they are being removed from the family, where do they go from there? Is it foster homes, or can they be legally adopted out to another family?
The kind of scenarios where children are taken into care, you're talking about serious neglect. It's not that a family runs into trouble. You're talking about sexual abuse, or you're talking about serious physical abuse.
Okay.
You're not talking about an ordinary family.
But is that outlined clearly? Is there room for abuse in terms of exceptional circumstances?
There isn't.
Can a judge interpret that as something else?
There isn't, because we're talking about the same language that's in the Constitution at the moment, with the addition of the word proportionate. So you can imagine a district court judge will want to see that lots of different levels of family support has been provided for a family before the HSE can intervene.
All right. Will there be no way back then for those parents if their children are fostered or then legally adopted?
Well, there is always a way back. If you look at the moment, there's 6,200 children in state care at the moment. Most of them are in foster care, but 3,000 of them are placed there voluntarily by their parents.
Okay.
So there's always a way back for those parents. But you raise the other important issue is that we do have hundreds of children in long-term foster care at the moment who want to be adopted by their foster families.
Just to stop you there. If that happens, this is great, but the financial support the foster family is getting at the moment, will that be removed? Because that's not there for couples who adopt children now.
It will indeed. It will indeed.
So this could be interpreted as a cost-saving exercise for the state if you want to be really cynical about it.
No, that's not at all. There's real problems for foster families with children who are long-term foster care. Has real implications for their lives.
Okay.
They can't agree to medical care for a child. They can't get a passport.
All right.
Social worker has to give permission slips.
How would the child's quality of life be improved if a foster family is getting paid to look after the child's expenses and the adopted family isn't? It could be argued that, hang on, will the family have enough money all of the time? Will stuff like medical care, will stuff like, you know, the €325 a week that's coming in to look after clothes and feed the child?
If you talk to the families in question, the children want to be adopted.
Okay.
They've waited for years to be adopted. And they want to know that the parents that they're with, the foster parents, are going to be their parents for life.
All right, well put. Tanya Ward, thank you very much for coming in this morning. Now, you've just heard Tanya's views on why to vote yes. Tomorrow we'll be hearing from the group Parents for Children, established to advocate a no vote in the forthcoming referendum. Also, don't forget that a debate will be held here on 3 this evening at 10 p.m, chaired by Vincent Brown, so tune into that also.